Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to double check and make sure everything is working the way that it's supposed to, which it is. You should be able to view. Let me double check. Good. I think everything's working. All right. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Steve Murray, president here in Insurance Agency Marketing Services. We're going to have join us very soon Dave Pimper. Dave is the president of Lazarus Coaching. He is also a top producer in his own right. He does both securities and insurance sales. We are fortunate enough to have him as part of the IAMS team on both the sales side and the training side. So today we're going to talk about retirement boss radio or radio broadcasting. I think what you're going to learn today is going to be revealing to you in a number of ways. The opportunities are great. The cost is relatively efficient, and the returns that people are seeing in terms of appointments and sales are very, very good. Some of that I think has to do with a little bit of the environment that we're living in today, but some of it I believe has to do with the good quality of the radio program and the solid production that goes into it, and then of course good show notes and information that comes from Dave. So looking forward to hearing a little bit more about that from Dave here shortly. In the meantime, as he joins us, I'm going to go through a couple of things really quickly that I want to make sure that you're all aware of. Number one, and this if it has to do specifically with your business with IAMS, and we offer Retirement Boss Radio, kind of the setup costs and getting everything rolling at the 750 level. If you look at that, that 750 level is actually be 750,000 of annuity premium, about 1/10 of that, about 75,000 of life target premium, and we would pay and get you ready to go on radio and get you up and running for your first 8 shows. So a really good deal for you if you want to take advantage of that. You can see that there are all kinds of opportunities under the new producer builders that you get, and these are available to anyone, which we have a few today. Anyone that's still in their first 6 months of being associated with IAMS. You have your first 180 days to take advantage of these. So if there's anything we can help you with there, give us a call and please take advantage of them. If there's something that you are doing that's not on there that you would like to try and we could donate towards that, we would do it at the same level as well. A couple other programs that I'm sure you want to be aware of. RPM, that's a referral program. When you refer someone to us, we put a little money in a bonus account for you and pay that out on a quarterly basis. Those are some of the biggest checks that we send out right now. Our business was built on referrals, and it makes sense that when we are paying bonuses based on those to producers, those get to be the biggest checks. The good news for our producers is that nothing comes out of your referee's pocket. So if you refer somebody over, they're going to get all the same benefits of doing IAMS business that you do, all the same incentives, trips, training opportunities, everything that you get will be available to them. We pay that out of our advertising budget, actually, that bonus to you. Marketing reimbursement is, again, another way that we put a decent amount of money in the producer pocket. It's a pretty simple program. When you do business with us on any product, we put money into your marketing reimbursement account. When you spend money to grow your business, you send us the receipts and we will match your spend dollar for dollar. So kind of doubles the value or the effectiveness of your own marketing campaign. Back off support, really good here at IAMS. I won't spend a lot of time on that because but most of the people here are regularly doing business with us and you're aware of that. I want to make sure that you had all taken advantage of our Firelight single sign-on. And for those of you that haven't, you're wondering what I'm talking about. It's the ability to sign into the IAMS website, and from there go to write an application, mostly on the annuity side with any of our annuity carriers. So you don't have to go website by website by website. If you're doing a piece of business today with Equitrust, tomorrow with Athene, and the next day with AIG, all of those Firelight applications are now housed on our website. You can go directly there. There's a lot of advantages to that for you. One thing that is a nice feature is that if you need to write 2 apps with 2 different carriers on one individual, you can save yourself a lot of time by doing just a quick cut and paste of information. It automatically kind of places that in the right box for you. Yeah, so it saves you a lot of time. If you have to redo an app, it's great to have it on an e-app, so you just do a quick a copy and resend it to your client for a quick email to get it re-signed. A really handy system to take advantage of. If you're not doing e-apps, I would encourage it. You know you're always going to have the right forms. You know you're going to have most up-to-date stuff, and it doesn't really let you move through and skip a blank. So a lot of times we see applications come in, maybe wrong form here or there, maybe it's not completely filled in. That doesn't happen when you're doing an e-app at all. You have to before you can submit, everything has to be properly filled out. So saves you a lot of time, and make sure that you have the right information there. So take advantage of our Firelight app, single sign-on Firelight app. If you have any questions on it or want to know how to do that, simply call your sales director and they'll walk you through it. The registration process takes literally 3 minutes. It's really easy to do. We have an advertising team here for our producers. The work that they do is, if not pro bono, at cost. A lot of guys use their marketing reimbursement or RPM dollars if they want to. Any way that you want to use your funds, we're going to go ahead and let you do that. And the only time you get charged by the team is when there's something that is kind of above and beyond the basic stuff that they can do for you at no cost. They will do for you, because our goal there with that team, who does nothing but work with people just like you all day long to help them, and so they've got a lot of great ideas and can find a lot of different methods and opportunities that maybe you hadn't thought of for you. But the only benefit to us of that group of folks is that they're helping you produce more business. So it's really set up for you to take advantage of to build your business. So take advantage of that. Call your sales director and let them walk you through what we can do. Hopefully you've taken a look at our website, imsinc.com. A lot of great stuff there. If you haven't, again, sales director call, just say, hey, what's on there that, here's my business, what's on there that would be good for me. There's a lot of stuff that everybody can use. There's a lot of stuff that would be real specific depending on what you're doing. So take advantage of that. Retirement Analyzer software, if you've not used a software package like that, I would encourage it greatly. If you have maybe not been happy with it, I would really encourage you to try the Retirement Analyzer. Really easy system and product to use. No doubt it's built as specifically to help folks find where they stand on their retirement journey as any piece of software out there. And what we like about it is the input side. Obviously you got to put in good information to get good information out, but it does as good a job as any in terms of a program of being able to do that as simply for you and your client as possible. So if you haven't taken advantage of the Retirement Analyzer, give Marcus a call here in our office, and he'll send you out a link. We will take care of that expense. Even if you're not yet doing business with us, we'll let you have a peek at it for a month or so. If you're doing business with us, we take care of your expense on an ongoing basis. Got a great wealth management firm, RIA. If you're looking at having wealth management as part of your business, I would have you look at IAMS Wealth if you would. I think you'll find them very well suited for folks that maybe have insurance primary in their background. Even if you have an IAR, you're going through another RIA right now, I think you'd be pleased with their payouts. They pay out just a little bit more than 1%, and that does not run through a grid, so you get 100% of that 1%, not 90, 80, 70, or 60, which is a lot of times what happens. So that's a really good deal for you, and I think you'll find their fees, for what you get for their fees, are very, very efficient. So we've designed them at a high service level, really high benefit for the fees that are charged, as high a payout as we can do to you, and just as much service as that you can expect from any RIA. I think you'd really love doing business with them. Simple thing to do there is just give your sales director a call and ask them to put you in touch with our RIA. Want to make sure that you're all aware of our Top Producer Summit. If you're not, I would encourage you to take just a quick gander at the slide before you. So qualification is ongoing through June 30th of 2022. It takes $4.5 million to qualify. But check something here really quick. And you can see before you kind of the stop. So we're going to start in Rome. We're going to go down the Italian coast, come back up between Greece and Italy, Montenegro, Croatia, and then of course we'll end up back in Venice. So it's going to be a really great trip. Right below the kind of the itinerary, you see that all of our all of our attendees are going to be on the concierge level of the ship. Everybody will have a balcony. Everybody will have 24/7 service. Everybody will get preferred onboarding. Everybody will have the ability to take advantage of free pressing and shining of shoes and all the stuff that you don't want to have to mess with when you're off exploring parts of Greece, Italy, Croatia, and Montenegro. So it will be a first-class trip. You'll have first-class accommodations and really great trip, I think, befitting some of the country's best producers. As you can see, we've got plenty of time to qualify. We started in December of 2020, and it's going to roll all the way through June of 2022, so that gives us another 8 or 9 months yet to rack up those points and get in there. It takes 4.5 million. That's dollar for dollar annuity premium. Your life target premium counts about 10 times. Your single premium life counts about 1.5 times, and every piece of business that you do with IAMS counts towards qualification. I should mention here as well that we have another incentive that we co-sponsor with Athene on the annuity side. For those of you that write Athene business with us, you get opportunity to win really 2 trips for your Athene premium. Your Athene premium counts towards this trip, and it also counts towards a trip to Hilton Head Island, and qualification on that runs through the end of this year. We're going to be at Hilton Head in March or April, I want to say late March of this year. And right now we have double credit, so as little as $1 million of annuity premium with Athene will qualify you and your guests to join us at Hilton Head Island, and that'll be a great trip. If you're a golfer, you're going to love that. If you love the beach, you're going to love that as well. And the beauty of it is that all of that qualification, all those qualifying premium also counts towards the Mediterranean cruise. So look forward to having you join us there. And like or follow us if you would. We certainly appreciate any opportunity to get information out there that would benefit our group of producers. We post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. I will say the Facebook is probably a little bit just more social based, but the LinkedIn information that we put out there is very, very beneficial. You're going to find, like right now, I think we just posted a CD prospecting kit, which is very, very timely as we are moving through October, one of the highest CD renewal months of the year. And you'll find that there's a lot of information, including not only stuff that you can use on a one-on-one sale, but also a lot of social posts that you can use, marketing pieces that you can use, a lot of great marketing ideas that can help you grow your business, all built up around CD renewal. We also have an LTC awareness kit out there as well that I think you'd find very beneficial. So a lot of good stuff out there. Like us, follow us, and take advantage of everything that we have to offer. All right, so I'm going to get moving right along here. If anyone has any questions or needs specific information, just go ahead and type that in and hit send. I'm going to now, as I introed Dave Pimper earlier, Dave is joining us, or maybe has already joined us. Dave has got in the business since the early 80s, plenty of years of experience, and that has all been built on what I would call a foundation of some of the best marketing that any single producer I've ever seen do. So whether that's radio, seminars, done mailing, all kinds of ways that he has built to keep a steady flow of prospects coming, and been very effective at that. And about 3 or 4 years ago now, Dave started talking to me about the ability to maybe work with radio. He has had radio in his background. He's got 25 plus years of experience in radio. So when Dave said, hey, something that I want to bring to the team, I'll try it out and get it all set up and get it working, I couldn't have been more pleased. And as we've seen the results roll out, my pleasure with the addition of radio is only gone greater. We were fairly fortunate, I think, in some of our timing on that. Obviously, more and more people are looking for different ways to get information on retirement and retirement planning, and ways to increase their investment returns and better protect their money from losses. And radio has just been a great fit for that over the past 2 or 3 years since Dave's been doing it. So great results. I think you'll be, as I mentioned at the outset, pleased with the relatively efficient, low and efficient costing of radio. And of course, this is an A to Z assistance with radio, which I think to be successful, you don't need that, but to be successful quickly and as successful as you can be, I think I think you absolutely have to have it. And so we're pleased to have Dave as part of our team. Let me introduce the coach, Mr. Dave Pimper with Lazarus Coaching. Morning, Dave.
Yeah, good morning, Steve. And you're very kind on this Friday. If it was probably Monday, Tuesday, it wouldn't have been as nice a build up. So thank you very much.
You bet.
I appreciate it. You bet.
Mhm.
Yeah, hey, thank you for everybody for being on a Friday. So thank you for being on the line with us today. I'll tell you right now, this is not going to be a long webinar, but we definitely are going to cover some important information. And Steve, I wonder if I can get the controls. There it is.
Should have
Good.
them now.
Okay.
Yep.
Boy, I look skinny. Jamie Christmas. Yeah. Yeah.
Good old days.
Yeah. Become a radio show host. Yeah. I've done radio for nearly 30 years now. Had my own radio show called Your Money Matters Live, 45 minutes each Saturday morning, for 11 years. And then I had for another 13 years. I think it'd be longer than that, maybe 13, 14 years. But there was a show that I did every the economic and market report for every business day for 5 minutes, and it was called the Closing Bell. And then we came in and started with this recorded show, an hour show, but it is really an A through Z turnkey, and it's you're being your own host. A lot of the other things that I've done, I was trying to get well known. I was trying to build a kind of a celebrity status of such that I was well known in my community. Radio here, I'm going to tell you, it's about getting an appointment. We want business to come through the doors, and it's very, very important. Why radio? Well, first, I'm going to tell you, tons of people listen to it. In fact, it reaches more Americans every week than any other device, including personal phone, including a personal computer, so forth. Average age median is 61. So you don't have a lot of young people, but Retirement Boss Radio is working with the pre-retired and just retired, the people that are going through that transition. It does solidify you as an expert, and radio's hot. I mean, I'm telling you what, it's hot. I mean, if for incomes over $75,000 household incomes, there's over 12 hours of radio that every single day that people listen to. Retirement Boss Radio takes charge of your money. It is trademarked. I trademarked it before our very first show. It's been out about 3.5 years. We haven't rolled it out to our the IAMS' producer group. Was maybe a year and a half ago, but we're certainly getting a lot of traction. We're getting just a lot of people that are interested in getting in front of qualified prospects. Okay, now what I want to do now is just to tell you kind of how Retirement Boss Radio works. So stay with me on this one. There are basically 4 components to Retirement Boss Radio. So what is the most expensive component? It's buying the radio time. And we're very fortunate that we found it's a radio expert, and he's a media buyer. He buys mostly radio, but some television time for different producers, and advertisers all over the United States. He's been in business for 24 years for his own firm. His family has owned radio stations going back to his grandfather and father for over 60 years. Pretty wild. And so he just wanted to go the media buying route instead of having the huge capital of actually owning the radio stations themselves. So when he goes out, he knows he has over 700 shows weekly that he's purchased radio time for different advertisers like ourselves. He's one of the best in the industry. He knows almost every market. Where radio works is if there's 100,000 people or more. If there's less than 100, it gets to be pretty tough. But 100,000 or more should get you enough listenership to get enough appointments to cover your return on investment and your return on what your expense is. So he goes out And finding the right station is one thing, but finding the right time slot, and at the right price, those three things have to go hand in hand. So he does that all for us, and he can usually find a much more competitive pricing than what it would cost for you to go out and do it yourself, because he knows all of the ropes. The second thing is the production side of the business. I went out and shopped it around, and I found a very good company that supplies a co-host. I like to have a co-host. He's kind of the color guy, keeps it going. He works with all the people that are retirement boss radio hosts right now across the country. They record it. If you make a blunder or a mistake, you can re-record it. You can record it in your office. You can record it at home. If you have Wi-Fi, you can do it in your car or motel room. But it's really nice to have a recording because you don't have to be down there. My recording's at 12 o'clock on Sunday, but it's Saturday or Sunday, the weekend, when the big boys, the big syndicated radio hosts they're not as on as much during the weekend. They open that up to the local representation. Okay, but they take it, they mix it, they edit it, they put your advertisements in it, and then they get it to where it's exactly an hour. And it's interesting, the hour show, you really only record for a half an hour. There's 4 segments. You record for 2 segments, and then we use a show from before, 4 weeks before, and that comes to be your hour. It saves on production costs, it saves on time you've got to record. Most people don't listen for the full hour, they listen to a portion of it. So that's the second leg. The third leg, though recorded, when people call in, and the number, it's always a toll free number, and it ends in 2677, BOSS for boss. All of our radios, as long as we can get them, they end in 2677. Like my phone number is 888-975-2677, 888-975 boss, BOSS. And that's easier for them to call on in. When they call into inbound high touch call center. It just works well. And I actually make a call to that call center probably every other week. Make sure they're picking up right away. Make sure they sound good. Make sure the questions are right. We wrote the script of what they say, but they basically say, "Hey, thank you very much for calling Dave Pimper with Retirement Boss Radio. Let's get you on Dave's calendar." It's that fast. I mean, we don't mail information out. We don't mail reports out. We get for appointments. We like in Nebraska. We're not a place state like maybe Oregon or Massachusetts or even Michigan is a little bit. We're not. So we see people almost all face to face. But if you are, then the Zoom comes in, and some of those are radio appointments. I've done my share of business with my first and second appointment, and then third appointment we see face to face to sign the paperwork. Some people are doc signing now, and they're electronically signing. We're still not doing that much. But I just talked to a man in Pennsylvania, and he's only doing almost everything. A good producer, and he's almost doing everything, through DocuSign and through electronic apps. So the pandemic has really entered kind of a new situation there with the way that we can write business. But getting in front of people, you guys and gals, that's key. And that's what a program like this does. And then the fourth leg of it is myself. 30 years of radio. Minute and 30-second ads have not done. I've tried them. They've just not done much for me at all. But being a radio co-host, meaning you're the host and then you have a co-host, yeah, that's been done very, very well for us. That when it flips on over to the call center, then that is live. Okay? Now, this shows you right here, once that call center sets up the appointment, they have an electronic calendar that interlinks with your calendar. They can't see the actual people, but they can see that you've got the blocked off time, so we never have appointments upon each other. So like here, excuse me, you can tell KFAB was with the radio station. The appointment date was 3/5 of 19, so this is a couple 2.5 years ago. But the appointment was 8:30. Turning 59 soon, hasn't settled on someone yet. The call center is saying he has a 401k that's seven-figured. Actually, he's 970,000. Also had a question about Social Security. Another neat thing about this: about 30% of your business will come around Social Security claiming. If you know it, great. If you don't, I coach you up Social Security claiming with no cost to you. IAMS pays me, and I'm never in your hierarchy. What we're doing here is, we're getting you in front of appointments. I get paid by IAMS. They stipend me some each month, but it's to do with your commission whatsoever. In fact, I have no idea what you. I hope you're writing a bunch, because that's why people go and do marketing like Retirement Boss. If you have any questions, type them on in. I'll be more than happy to help you with those. There's a website, www.retirementbossradio.com. www.retirementbossradio.com. Those have all of my actual live broadcasts. They're 30-second segments, because that's how much we are. That's how much we advertise. The only thing you have to buy it all front, you got to get a professional mic, or professional headphones. There's a little wind shield over the mic, so you don't have the popping sounds on your P's. And there's a little foam box. All of that's about $225. You can order it from Amazon. We give you the exact link to order it. It's really all that's yours. That's all we request up front, and then everything then is done through the monthly pay, which we'll talk about. So, what is the cost? Depends on your area. But we just put in. The town was at 1.1 million up in the central northeast, central north of the U.S. We're on the top station, and we're in for $3,600 all in, all cost in. So I would say if you're figuring $3,000 to $4,000 per month, being on the radio for an hour each week, the goal is to get a minimum of 10 appointments. I'm averaging more than that per month, but 10 appointments per month. So the cost, $3,000 to $4,000. I've had it as little as $2,300. I've had it over $5,000 in a bigger city before, but that's pretty darn reasonable for getting in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. We like to have the one or two or three, especially one or two, at a million person plus city. We like to have the first or second. If it's a smaller community, of course, we want the top station there if there's more than one. There are locations available, not everywhere, but there are locations available. I train you. So if I'm training you up on Social Security, we're talking about Social Security for 3 sessions. And then one session, usually is 2.5 sessions on Social Security, and then half a session on the radio itself. If you already know Social Security and don't want to be trained up, IAMS pays for that. Then we go through a session or two on just the radio itself. I critique your first ones that you do, tell you what you're doing well, tell you what you need help on. That seems pretty advantageous to people. The studio, it's where you want it. It's where it's quiet. In your office, at your home, wherever you want to go in and record that. But all the components, it takes a while to understand how they all work together, but the end product, believe me, will make you sound good. The end result is money. The end result is more production money. And that's what we're trying to do. Al Jolson is an old actor, was in the silent movies, but he says, I'd like to do radio just like pictures leave the imperfect stuff on the cutting room floor. Well, I will tell you, the cutting room floor, that's what you have here. You can stop anytime and say, let's redo that. Let's redo that. I have only done this once, but I redid the entire show. I just didn't like the mood I was in. Didn't sound very good. We recorded everything over again. The co-host is very, very good. He keeps everything moving along. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up actually it's a slide, and this slide is going to say, yes, I want an appointment, or no, I don't. But there's something I want to say beforehand. It says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Tomorrow never comes, does it? It never, ever comes. So I'll tell you right now, if you saw something today that you said, hey, you know what? That 3,000 to 4,000, maybe I can handle that financially. Having 10, 15 appointments a month on the calendar, set. And you're doing it. I just had a person tell me, I did a Social Security workshop last night. Actually, the last 2 nights. My son he does the Medicare business from our office. he did a workshop on Tuesday night, and then I did Social Security workshops on Wednesday and Thursday. But a lady said, she raised her hand. She goes, "Well, Dave, I listen to you every Sunday on radio." And it kind of puts you in that spotlight. We actually got 11 appointments. I was very happy. We got 11 appointments between Tuesday and Thursday night. My goal is to at least have 10. But seminars and radio, I'll tell you right now, having a way to market yourself, having a way to get in front of people that you normally would not get in front of. I just wrote, it wasn't a big piece of business, but it was $50,000. I mean, why I just jumped on the phone right when Steve was introducing me, and that came from Retirement Boss Radio, and he was retiring. We got his Medicare business, and we got his investment business. Okay, so if you mark yes, then we will give you a call here still today, and we'll set up a good time for you and me for 20, 25 minutes just to talk, kind of see what you're doing for marketing. But Steve, I'm going to turn it on over to you and see if we have any questions before we button this up.
Thanks, Dave. Great stuff as always. You have raised a couple of questions regarding expense associated with Retirement Boss Radio, a little bit regarding availability of areas from a couple of folks. I would encourage the folks that have interest in questions about availability of areas, if you would, to go ahead and set an appointment with Dave, which just a quick look tells me that everybody, that's great. Everybody has set an appointment, so that won't be an issue at all. So Dave what will happen there is if you want to know about what's going on in your area and whether there's availability and what it might cost, that does take a little bit of research. Usually Jared's getting back with us within a day or two at the most and letting us know in terms of availability what's there. So keep that in mind when you're talking to Dave. He'll check on your area for you. Show notes. So you talked a little bit about show notes, and then the question arises, what about my broker dealer? I don't know that I mentioned out of the gate that you have a BD as well, that you run your show notes through. You want to talk about that for just a second, Dave?
Sure. Yeah, I have a broker dealer, and people who are security licensed, Series 6, Series 7, not just RIA or IAR off the 65. What happens is that will need to go through compliance. So before you go on, you want to make sure that you talk to compliance, make sure it's okay to do radio advertising. Not many. There are a few broker dealers that just don't like advertising, period. You know, they're playing it extremely safe. But I go because I do so much marketing. I mean, I do tons of marketing. I have done it my entire life. I know pretty much what you can say and what you can't say when it comes to compliance. So when I get the show notes, I redo the show notes for my compliance department because that's what they want. They also listen to the show every week, but they want the show notes in case they're audited, which they are normally once a year. They can have the show notes there. So I take out words like always, never. If I use the word guarantee, I'll say it's only as strong as the company that backs it. I mean, there's certain things that my broker dealer wants. We've had no problems with other broker dealers accepting that. If they want something changed, then they will let you know. But I can work through with you on that and make it simple for you when it comes to compliance with broker dealers in our radio show.
Perfect. I'm assuming that answers that question. So I mentioned show notes, and the question is it word for word? Is it a scripted show, Dave? So I know you mentioned that a little bit. Talk about that.
Yeah. Yep. There are some out there, FMOs, marketing organizations, that they are scripted, and they read them from this. No matter how good you are reading, you can still tell you're reading. We don't. We have our show notes. We encourage you not to read them, but to use them, and I have them in bullet point form, so they help you go in and to follow a schedule. So the show notes, we might have 8 bullet points that are listed, and what happens is you don't have to cover all 8. You may cover the 3 or 4 that you think are the most important. Also, you can certainly add, if you have a certain kind of product, maybe it's long-term care, maybe it's hybrid long-term care, or maybe it's universal life, or maybe it's Medicare. I mean, whatever your expertise, if it's not in there, you can certainly add that too. So you can kind of, but I'd keep the majority of it from the show notes, and it's all broad subjects like Social Security, like retirement planning, income planning, all that types of things. But what happens is you can add your touches on that to customize it for you, but it's not read. It's just it's kind of added. But to do this show like this, you have to be kind of quick on your feet. You got to be able to talk. But if you have that ability, this can be a dynamic way to market for yourself.
You gave everybody the website as well, but it bears repeating. It's www.retirementbossradio.com. When you go there, you're going to hear you'll see some information, but at the bottom, you can listen to a number of podcasts. And I think as you listen to those, you'll see kind of the interaction between Dave and that co-host. I think you'll like that. The co-host does a great job. We use the co-host for every show only because everybody likes him. There are other co-hosts available, but Steve does a great job doing that co-hosting and keeping the show moving. You've got the show notes that you're working on. How much time do you spend preparing for your radio show each week, Dave?
I spend about 45 minutes to an hour. People who don't do that, I mean, could you imagine not preparing before if you're a professional basketball player before a basketball game? Could you imagine? I was going to say Nebraska football. Maybe they don't prepare as much as they should, Steve. But you prepare. You prepare. If you want to be a good player, you prepare. Just to give you an example, my last show notes, I started off for my intro, and the intro is the economy is reopening, and we are definitely seeing higher inflation. On today's show, we'll outline how this could impact your financial security in retirement and offer some possible solutions. So here's what then the coast comes in, talks about it, but here's my bullet point headlines. How much will your money be worth in 10 or 20 years? Then I have Social Security is not keeping up with inflation. What can we do? And it talks in here, about also considering whether your current investment strategy will need a change once you retire. Becoming more conservative, maybe having guarantees of that fixed index or fixed annuity. Yeah. And then I do a quote every time. And this quote is from Henry Hazlitt. And I say he's a journalist, American journalist. He wrote in the Wall Street Journal and Newsweek, New York Times. And his quote, and I read the quote then, it is, inflation is a form of tax, a tax that we all collectively must pay. And it's very, very timely because Social Security's COLA, cost of living allowance, was just announced, earlier this week at 5.9%. That's the highest in 39 years. In 39 years. So it really fits in well. So you're becoming the expert. And then my segment 2, I intro, when we come back, an honest look at retirement today and lessons we can learn from the past. And then my bullet points are life expectancy, health care, long-term care, housing, market conditions, Social Security, and taxes, inflation. Those are 8 bullet points, and I think I took probably 3 or 4, and we talked about them, whatever the ones I was comfortable with. So they're not, but if you want to throw your specifics in there, or what's important to you, like if you start talking about long-term care, I did talk about that because I talked, Steve, about the One America. Is that what it was? One America product,
Yep.
but America One, yeah. But it's a hybrid. I mean, they take off the life insurance benefit early if you have 2 of 6 ADLs, and I don't try to get too, but I just say, what? I mean, you're it's from a tax-free standpoint. If you haven't got long-term care, that maybe a lot of people are looking at that. So I normally don't go product specific. I don't say One America. I just say a long-term care coverage. But that's the kind of show notes that you have.
And I think when you listen to a couple of Dave's shows, I mean, you could go in and listen to Dave's shows and really work very much from those types of scripts. And Dave, you've mentioned you record those in half-hour blocks, right? So really,
Right.
In a half-hour radio show, how much time of Dave and Steve talking is that really?
Yeah, you have 12 and a half minutes. So you got 25 minutes of 30 minutes are actually talking.
Got it.
And then 5 minutes is radio ads and promo ads and et cetera. Yep.
One of our attendees today is a father, has a son as well. Do you have anybody doing like a co-hosted or a father and son, father and daughter, or 2 partners together doing a radio show together?
I have in the past, and they're not doing it now. It did not work. I think it's hard to make that work on an ongoing basis, and that's what they wanted to do.
Mhm.
They actually, one of them didn't want the co-host, and that's a mistake. And I won't do that again. I mean, they wanted to do it. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm not going to do it again. If the father and son want to do it, but they're not unless they're radio professionals. The co-host, I mean, he's great. I mean, he's got
Right.
35 years of radio behind him. He's a broadcaster. He knows a ton about the investment in insurance business. So, can they do that? Yeah, I would recommend to do it once in a while, but don't do it every single week. You'll do better
Mhm.
with Steve being the co-host. That's my opinion.
Yep. I think you're probably right. The fact that the one time we tried it and they're not continuing to do that radio show probably gives us some insight into
Yeah,
how well that works. So,
yeah, yeah.
but could it be done or in the right situation? Probably could. There's a way there might be a way to make it work. It probably depends on the personalities of the father and the son, how well they work together. There's no doubt that in our business, clients feel more comfortable when they've got, especially an older, more experienced advisor, but they want to know that there's somebody that's going to be there, 15, 18, 20, 30 years down the road if needed. So it's nice to have father son uh, uh, partnerships. That is all of the actual questions that we
Okay.
have today. If there As I mentioned, Dave, you have 100% of the folks that were on with us today are going to want to talk with you. So you're going to have a little bit of busy time next week. We'll call and
Hey,
set up an
Steve.
appointment.
Steve,
Yes, sir.
there's nothing wrong with 100%, is there?
No, there really isn't. You can't get any better than that.
Yeah,
Although,
that's right. Don't say it, but yeah, that's good. Yeah. Whatever was
100%.
going to come out of your mouth
Yeah,
was not going to be positive. I'm
probably
trying to
not.
save myself. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you start with but,
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I really like your outfit, Grandma, but
yep. Trouble brewing with grandma.
yeah.
Um, well, let me tell everyone here today, including yourself, Deb. I want to thank you all for taking time out of a Friday. We are very interested in helping folks that are looking to grow their business and do a better job for their clients. And one thing that we didn't talk about is that there's a certain amount of training that goes on here, not so much around the radio, but around Social Security and 401k, Roth conversions, things like that. That Dave is, of course. Available to be of assistance as well. And that's automatically included in the process. So whatever we can do to help you make you be successful, whether it's on the radio or in seminars, we're here to help you. So whatever we can do, give us a call. You know our number, 1-800-255-5055. You're all going to get a call here before the day is out to set up a time or to confirm set up a time with Dave and his team at Lazarus Coaching, and we'll get you rolling. And I can promise you, as I promise all the time on these, you're going to get some great information from your time with Dave, whether it's regarding radio or just your business in general. He loves working with folks that are fellow producers like himself, and he's been doing marketing for a long, long time. No comment on your age to follow, Dave.
I hear you. I thank you. But
You bet.
thank you everybody for taking time with us, and have a really great weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye bye.